of the night. Ronin taking on HomelessR6.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tight Angles. And as we're moving in here, I'm just interested to see with the operator selections, Zofia getting picked, but no Capital, which doesn't get a lot of play on border, but could still potentially be utilized if they have a strategy. We're not seeing an Ella picked quite yet. I wouldn't be surprised if Peng did pick her, but no, they're actually going to forego the Ella. Maybe that nerf coming into effect. I don't think that her nerf is that big of a deal right now. 10 bullets and, changing the Ella mines and the way they operate slightly shouldn't affect it too much, but we're just going to see exactly how this defense plays out as we're going to take a look, and they're going to be starting to reinforce that office side with Smoke, Jaeger, Doc, Bandit, and Mira. Mira placements here on border, especially on this site, are super important as to how well the defense is prepared for any kind of attack coming forward. If they maybe the Mira will try to save one of her windows to try to place it in a better position, but right now seems one's getting placed on the armory wall, and I am anticipating that the other one will be placed in fountain. What do you think about that, and Tara? What do you think about what we're going to anticipate seeing here from this defense?
One Mira on the actual armory wall is an interesting place. I wouldn't be too surprised, to see the other go on the fountain wall. As you said, that's typically where you will have your other either in office or on fountain, and then you can make a couple changes. You can either open up that wall that leads outside to the northern balcony. You can open up fountain wall and just guard from inside of office. There's a lot of flexibility in how you set yourself up on defense, but if you saw for a brief second there, they've opened up all of CCTV. It's likely they're not really going to put anybody up there, and the other Mira is, it's going to be inside of office. So they're going to barricade fountain. They're going to leave the soft wall intact as Chap goes outside, takes care of the Claymore, and he gets one Houghton, but Pojo was there watching, just wasn't quick enough on the draw. Houghton playing Zofia, he's down, and that looked like he could have taken all of them out if he hadn't been watching, but good for Pojo there to take care of him.
Definitely. I was wondering what actually prompted Chap to go out there, and he knew exactly where that Claymore was being placed. It makes me wonder, just that game sense that the professional players have, at this level, especially when they just seem to know things that a typical player would not know. But even with that trade, and now Bandit getting that first hit on a charge, however, Sledge will get a kill onto Jaeger, and now Bandit has died as well, as this wall is going to get opened up. It seems that right now, Smoke getting that trade onto Blackbeard is huge, but then immediately Smoke is traded right back out by Hibana, and now it's all up to Mira in a 1 versus 3 scenario where she does have a C4, but there's a ton of time left on the clock for the offense to just slowly move in, get the plant down, and really just take out Mira before she can do any significant damage. But we have seen, Mira pull off some crazy plays. She has a very, very powerful weapon as she does take out Blackbeard, but then is immediately traded out by Mint, playing Thatcher. Nice plays coming out from Homeless right there. Just systematically took out each player and cleaned it up very nicely. Moving into the next round.
Can we talk about how nice that kill was onto Jarvis? Oh boy, right through the open mural window. Got him feeling so good, I'm sure, but Bill just couldn't clutch it. And I mean, this is what I'm expecting to see out of Homeless. This is a map that they're very comfortable with, they're very good on. I have a feeling, because it made it through the ban phase, likely that Ronin is comfortable enough as well. But you played on this map long enough as a team, as Homeless has, and I would say they have that advantage. That was a really good push, even though Chap had an opportunity to possibly get a 2 or a 3K on that peak. Just, it's a gamble you take when you go for that out like that, but it was a misplaced gamble, I think. And now I'm not going to be too surprised to see Homeless play from both below as well as Insight too.
Yeah, I think that that trade, though, however, with Doc getting that kill onto Zofia, I think that was a worthwhile trade, mainly because Zofia has a ton of utility that can be utilized. Claymore we saw get utilized, and then we have, the 2 impact grenades and the concussion grenades that can get shot out of her out of her gadget there's just so much potential for her to bring a lot of offensive pushing ability to the offense. We didn't quite get to see it utilized right now. Ash and Buck, excuse me, just Ash moving towards the valley area, potentially spawning in the wrong location as Smoke and Ella are playing inside of CCTV and Pulse playing down below by Tellers. Thermite and Ash moving in through the east staircase. Ash moving down the east staircase now, very, very cautiously. Might have a drone in front of her, and now Pulse is shooting at the bottom of that door, and it does get opened up. They now know that Pulse is somewhere by the ventilation's objective downstairs, potentially in the bathroom. Ash moving down the stairs, being played by Yellow, has to make something happen here, but it's just really just watching the flank. There's no reason for her to actually push, but she has to either trade positions with somebody, as Hibana looks like she's going to be opening up that side wall. And just in case somebody's playing behind it, Ella now drops down from the CCTV into Customs. She's going to potentially go for a flank as Adam picks up a kill onto Billboard. Ash going for some of those wall bangs through the wall. With 1 minute and 45 seconds left, Pulse is just going to be trying to give intel from the bathroom as to what's going on with this push.
We have, in the meantime, we can just touch on this community vote right now. This is the closest that a community vote has ever been. 51% favoring HomelessR6 versus 49% taking Ronin eSports. And that is an absolute nail biter. If you'd like to participate in any future community votes, or a bit of a shameless plug, if you ever want to get updates on when CCS goes live, any special guests, or possibly competing yourself, go ahead and follow CCS eSports on Twitter at CCS eSports. Now Houghton and Mint getting leadoff kills on a Talon in yellow. A C4 from Adam goes nowhere. Looked like it would only take out Mint himself, but Jarvis eliminating Peng. Mint and Houghton with very little health, and now it's all up to Chap in a 5v1. That was a very quick round. Still going, but the Hibana holding a hard angle, sees the Jaeger and manages to, or the Bandit rather, and is able to eliminate him. So Mint goes. He just had a touch of health left, only took a shot or two from that Type 89. He'll have the same amount of luck with Houghton, though he will sustain some damage from below. That's Jarvis using the pulse. As we said, the verticality here definitely doable. Looked like he saw Houghton, but then looked away at the last second. And even though he was just on a quarter of his health, that prone Ella still able to eliminate the Hibana. And Homeless is up 2-0.
I think that a lack of pressure on the downstairs and giving Pulse the freedom to kind of move around was really an issue there. He most likely gave a lot of intel to his team, and he even got a C4 kill from underneath and almost killed Chapstick from below on the very end. And I think that just having that ability to give his team all of that intel as to where all the offensive operators are and where they potentially could be pushing from as a whole is just so important. They're going to have to adapt to that and get rid of Pulse, or at least move him around, flush him into a different area to where they don't have to worry about getting killed from underneath like that. So right now, we're seeing a 2-0 lead for Homeless on this map, this being their pick. This is kind of what we anticipated, is it not?
Yeah, it's their pick. They're going to play very well. They even played their defense exactly as we thought. Basically, what they'll do is they'll try to gain control by shooting out a lot of the floor over common entry points. You'd seen that there were a couple of shots into the windows and the doors of office below, as well as that little cubby where it's usually, I believe it's bomb B sits, just underneath where bomb A is right now, the name of which I am forgetting. And then you had Jarvis playing below as Pulse. There are a couple maps where you'll see a Pulse will play quite well from below, and that's exactly how they employed the Pulse this time. And Jarvis being able to shake Chapstick off of his spot in the dying seconds, and that was crucial for them. As Homeless now begins their push towards what is the open door of CCTV, they're going to be a little wary if anybody's going to push them from east stairs. I'm assuming they will have one flank watching, just as they did before. Houghton will go back on the drone, but as you can see from the silhouettes through the wall, there's nobody really pushing from that direction. Instead, they are stacked very heavy inside of Armory, with just one or two inside of Office. You would assume that running just a Hibana, it will likely be an Office take, because opening up Armory without a Thermite can be a bit of a difficult ordeal, to say the least. but that's something that will flesh itself out and, of course, can change depending on the picks that you get as attackers and defenders and how you're able to approach the site itself.
Exactly. With Zofia now moving behind Blackbeard, probably going to provide some kind of concussion mines there to stop Bandit from Bandit juggling, which is I would anticipate them doing, but actually Adam will get a grenade kill onto Yellow, who did get one of the sets of Habana pellets, but couldn't get the other one before he was picked off. Right now, Blackbeard holding this angle, very, very dangerous angle, but he is spotted through that Mira. Even though it is not open, he still has to be careful of a pre-fire. Habana looks like she's actually going to try to go for the plant as the Mira window does get opened. Zofia is shooting concussion mines to stop the defenders from pushing, while actually Sledge is going to move in, get behind the lockers, take down one. They know that there's one in the closet, as Smoke is actually going to get the kill, drop the hatch, and then is going to escape very stealthily right now. Zofia is actually going to be going for the plant right away and is going to get wall banged to stop the plant once again. One by one, these attackers are getting taken down. Jaeger will down Blackbeard as Thatcher is the last one left alive, and then he gets taken down by Smoke. That was just trade after trade, preventing the plant from going down, and with one defender left standing at the very end. There's much more to say about that round. That round was
that was a stomp. That was a very quick round.
Fast, lots of action, just, you know, one step after the other. Zofia's utility used properly to gain the ground they needed to, and to get that wall open, to get that kill on Bandit. You know, just, I thought it was very well executed offense, but the defense ended up coming out on top.
Yeah. And played very well by Ronin. You saw that they had a couple that had pushed off of the site. They gave Homeless that room to come right in and take control of the site. Houghton started to get the defuse down, and a great read from Talon to get that bullet pen kill through the wall, just as he tapped away at the SMG-11, just on the side of that armory office wall, or the little armory desk wall, rather, as the room itself is called, and managed to eliminate Houghton and stop the diffuser in its tracks. If he had have let that continue to go, would have been a lot more difficult. Yeah, they did go frag chasing, but Houghton still alive, would have been able to get over to the side and likely use those concussive mines of his to try and push the defenders off of the site. Didn't need to happen, of course, because the Zofia went down so early. Customs being the site for round number 4 and the second defense for Homeless. This is a site that we used to see very little of, but has now worked its way into the hearts of a lot of teams. There's a certain viability to it, depending on how you play it. A big component of how well you play it is you want to go up top. And there you go. Kazrep, thank you so much for showing us. Our handy-dandy cameraman will show us exactly where you're going to put most of your assets, which is up in CCTV. You'll usually have 1 or 2 playing that, likely have a Mira looking towards east stairs, no different than you would with some of the ways you play Armory, and there you have it. Adam sets it down right as it's described. The big things with this site, for those that are unfamiliar with it, number 1, if you don't have adequate pressure in customs downstairs, you can be, I guess you can fall victim to a very quick rush plan. And number 2, if you lose CCTV, it becomes an untenable idea to be able to hold that site up. Already Archives and now almost Armory have been taking control of. Office and Fountain is the attackers now too, and Pojo upstairs in Armory is going to be the main one to have to deal with.
Exactly. Smoke is going to be playing upstairs, not anchoring as we typically see, but he is trying to desperately open up a hole for him to move through, as he's just wasting time utilizing one of his smoke canisters. He needs to open that hole so he can get back down and drop down that hatch if he needs to retreat. Mira, however, has been taken out, but one of Blackbeard's shields is gone. Buck now will get down by Smoke. He's going to be able to pick up that kill and peek. He's actually going to throw a smoke to get rid of him instead. Very, very nice play. Bandit will also get a kill, and now Mint will actually get more kills. Wow, great plays by Mint coming up on the flank there, most likely. Just now, Billboard being the last one alive in a 1v4 scenario, they just all got flanked there by Bandit. Nobody was really dedicated to watching it. I think that was a big mistake. And if there was someone dedicated to watching it, they need to watch it that much more closely, because it just didn't work out. Thatcher now is going to move down the east staircase. Has to be very careful not to give away his position. He's going to try to get into the site, most likely, just to maybe get a pick or two, but he does have the diffuser in hand, so the defense still has to hold their positions and make sure that he doesn't plant the bomb. Like you said, there's lots of areas for him to plant at. It's just, is he going to be able to get into one? He does have 50 seconds, but still a lot of work to do. No way to get rid of those barbed wires. He's going to jump through the hole here and is unable to anticipate the waiting Jarvis looking through the hole exactly where he was going to come through. Very great defense coming out from Homeless. And that site that you mentioned that they just defended, that is one of these sites that Homeless is known to be able to defend very, very well. And it's going to be up to Ronin to adapt to that push, and they're going to have to they're just going to have to figure it out by the next time they defend it, because they're going to have to defend it again if Ronin is able to win another round and force them into that position.
I mean, there was a strat. It used to be called flipside strats when they were known as flipside. I'm sure that it will likely change depending on the org. Homeless strats just sounds a little different, but
a little strange.
The big thing that you used to see was they would run unconventional strategies on sites that you didn't see a lot of. Bakery, cash, originally way back on Skyscraper, if I remember correctly, they ran kitchen and kitchen barbecue when you didn't see it all that much. And of course now Customs is not that abnormal. Customs has actually seen a surge of picks, and some teams actually favor it over this site right here, which is the workshop site down on the bottom floor, which is what has typically been known as the second most preferable site on Border. Once again, a big component is guarding from above. You'll find that is a commonality with every single site that you see that is either on the basement or the main floor. If there is a floor above it, you are most likely going to be contending that floor. The only real glaring, example on that is Chalet. When it's Kitchen Trophy, you really don't stack a lot of people upstairs that often. There are Castle, there are mirror strats you can run to try and keep people from taking bedroom, but you don't see it all that often. Now, 3-1 in favor of Homeless right now. This is exactly Rams what we thought was going to happen, and nothing too strange so far. Billboard has been the man to try to clutch it out for his team and has gotten some frags from that last man standing position he's in, but really have not amounted to much. We talk about impact frags. When it's a 1v3 and you get 2 kills, those are not impact frags. Those are just there for your KD to go up.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm really surprised we're not seeing out of this offense is a buck. Even though they have a sledge, yes, they have an ash, and yes, they do have Hibana to open hatches if need be. Buck not being picked, especially when the defense is downstairs, is still kind of a blow to the offense's ability to push and create angles they need to watch for rotations. Right now, with Hibana moving in through Customs, Ash taking over detention and opening up that hole in the wall there, they're just waiting for something to occur here. I think that they're nervous about players upstairs, which you mentioned is a huge issue. The vertical play on this map is big. Yellow just got a kill from above, is now going to be holding the CCTV and just waiting. It looks like it was Capitao outside of CCTV. He's going to have to try to get that Jaeger out of there as the offense is now moved over and is going to be opening up the wall and that doorway. However, Smoke is keen on what is going on right now and is going to be holding this angle very intently. Sledge flirting with the holographic sight of Smoke, just barely not in his vision, as the defense are all waiting for the offense to actually make something happen. They did see a flashbang come out, and Smoke is going to smoke that off. With 1 minute left to go, it's going to be important to see how the offense actually push in with the defense being so well anchored down.
Flash is going out as now Houghton will storm inside, and it's a joint effort as Chap takes down Adam. It looked like he was going to get Houghton as well. That was Custard's last stand inside of the bathroom, but the Smoke able to take one with him. But most importantly, those Toxic Beauties off the board. A Capitao and Ash and Hibana remain. So a very speedy attack as all three speeds remain upright for the attackers. And they have pretty decent control downstairs, but they need to close in on the site. Some final work being done by Houghton to try and open up that wall inside a bathroom. Mint takes out Billboard, so he will not be the last alive again. Though they have the bottom floor, they need to get control of above. Houghton, with just a shred of health, runs through the smoke as Jarvis eliminates Peng, and now just 2 left. Yellow, the Jaeger will run through, turn his back to Jarvis, and the Hibana doing great work. The Bandit of Talon goes outside. Oh, he'll take down Jarvis, and he'll go for another, but his position is revealed just in dire straits. Very easy for them to be able to pick him apart, as there is a giant red outline around him outside, and Mint makes short work of him. Match point right now in favor of Homeless, 4-1.
Not only was that pre-fire from Bandit while he was outside absolutely spectacular, but just the timing of Jaeger running behind Hibana as she came around that pole and then turning around, and Jaeger knew exactly where the plant was going down to, and Ash was one shot. That could have been disastrous for the offense if Ash had been down, but luckily Hibana was able to spin around just in time to take down that Jaeger, and Bandit, being in that precarious scenario of being outside and fully detected, had no chance of getting back to the building. Absolutely not. So moving into match point now, with Homeless being on defense, I think that we're going to see a very similar hold. The operators that they're selecting and the defense position is all too familiar to them. It's going to be very simple. If Ronin don't get rid of that pulse underneath, or at least just force him to go back upstairs, just put him in a position where he cannot utilize his C4 and his pulse scanner to the best of its ability, then they will have a much better chance than they did last time. Right now, with the Mira placement getting put it in a slightly different position, we see it being placed on the right side of the armory wall as opposed to the left side of it. We're going to see where the other Mira window gets placed, and we're going to see it on the customs wall, with that hole getting opened up by Adam and another hole being opened up by Pojo Man to rotate between the two areas. I like that setup. I think it's good. I think that it adds a lot of versatility to their push, or excuse me, to their defense. But we're going to see how Ronin can adapt to it, if they can adapt to it. A very well placed drone right there is going to get a lot of intel into the offices as Chapstick places that Claymore down. And Mint is just going to be watching this hallway and watching the doorway to CCTV in very intently as Hot and Cold watches this hatch inside of CCTV and through the customs double door downstairs.
Good hold right now from Homeless as Ronin is stalling a little bit, trying to get inside. They don't really have any significant control whatsoever. Some drone work being done, and they're obviously going to try to find Jarvis quickly. He did prove to be a thorn in the side last time that they had to take control upstairs. Having a pulse beneath is never a wise idea, as that cardiac sensor can be combined with either a nitro cell or the UMP, or if you're feeling particularly spicy, the M1014 shotgun as well, that is brought by the operators such as Pulse and Castle. A long-range shot from Yellow towards Armory, but isn't able to really land anything. Adam gets lead-off kill onto Talon. That was the Buck getting a little too close for comfort, and some accolades being given from Talon on a nice shot. You can hear the Thermite working away towards the doorway into Archives. Adam will return fire, doing exactly what he's done in the past, which is hop out and then wait until he's exposed before getting a shot or two off, knowing that they will push him. Almost rhythmic, but right now not able to do much. Sitting and just waiting, a standoff between the Thermite, and goes for a full fire. That entire magazine of the Vector will be expended. And once again, Adam will try it yet again, but just nothing. He's managed to kill 40 seconds doing this though, Rams.
Yeah, Ash actually get taking a ton of damage right there, as Thermite's actually going to run in and take down that Mira, who overstayed her welcome in that corner just a little bit too long. Yellow, however, is going to get taken down by Ella, who was playing behind the desk, but Chapstick is going to trade that out immediately. A great trade by him. Now, Bandit playing in the corner right directly to Chapstick's right is going to be in a huge position to make something happen, but Pulse, once again, Jarvis coming in huge, coming in on that flank and taking down that Hibana. Mint still playing behind the B-bomb site, as Smoke is going to be utilizing those smokes to its full effect, giving them a huge advantage now, with Billboard being the last one alive. Pushing through that B doorway is going to take a lot of fire from multiple defenders and is going to get cleaned up there by Pojo Man. A great map coming out from Homeless. We anticipated that it would be a little one-sided here, but it was a great attempt by Ronin to try to make that match as close as possible, even though the scoreline looks very, very one-sided. Some of those rounds were a lot closer than.
Very close indeed. 10 kills for Mint. Outstanding performance. Jarvis with 7 as well. And now we're going to head to map number 2, which is Bank. So Bank is a map that Ronin is a bit comfortable on, or a bit more comfortable on than Border, I would say. Obviously going to be changing sides. We're just going to see here if we're going to have a short break. and then we can go for there. Homeless will now defend on bank for map number 2. A couple takeaways there. They weren't able to really get inside of sight as effectively as they could. I found that Homeless did a great job of boxing them out, and even though you could see Ronin trying to gain control, every single time they took an inch, they seemed to be pushed back or repelled by Homeless. I don't know if it was just sheer luck or if they had every angle cut off. It is hard to tell when you don't really have an access to see everything from above. But nonetheless, no break. We're just going to launch right into bank. It looks like both teams are ready. Homeless currently up 1-0. They are going to start on defending, and this is of course Ronin's map. And what are we going to be looking for, Rams, heading into this what could be our final matchup of the day?
Well, going into bank, it's a very, very large map with lots of areas for roamers to sit and just sit around. I wouldn't be surprised if the offense brought a Jackal just for that specific reason. And we're seeing Jackal picked immediately, didn't even hesitate, just picked him right away. Also bringing Zofia, that's important because once again, she has a lot of utility. She's kind of a jack of all trades operator. She can open walls, help with pushing using her concussion mines, place a claymore to watch the flank. She has powerful weapons at her disposal, even a sight on her pistol, which only 2 operators have. With the operator selection from the offense, I think that they're going to try to just open up as much as possible, aka all 3 of the hatches in open area, since the downstairs site is typically the first defended site, which is what we're seeing right now. But on the opposite spectrum of that, we're going to see an Echo drone in place of a smoke. We're going to see Valkyrie having cameras to help out, giving callouts to give the roamers the ability to rotate whenever they see an opening on those cameras. We're going to have Vigil being brought to waste as much time as possible, and we're going to have Ella as a roamer as well. I think that if they utilize Vigil's ability properly, they will use him as a secondary roamer to protect Ella. So pretty much if a drone spots Ella and is calling her out and the offense is trying to pinch her, Vigil can avoid those drones and they give the offense a hard time pinpointing his exact location, as he can kind of watch one of Ella's sides so she's not getting pinched from all directions at the same time. But it's going to be up to Jackal to find the footprints of Vigil and Ella at the same time to try to give the offense as much intel as they need along with the drones.
Vigil inhabits a very interesting role because he makes it very difficult for entry fraggers to get inside and can punish teams that are not very well coordinated on their push. Because of the way Vigil works, you almost always need a drone escort. I mean, I think some people will argue over whether or not his ability is more detrimental for roaming than it is helpful. I would say that it really depends on the site, it depends on the player, and it depends on the team you're playing against. I don't think there is one answer to that question. But, I mean, it's really going to come down to Ronin being able to figure out how they enter the actual building. And as you can see, they've had no problem getting inside. Not only did they leap in through trading room, but they also able to get the hatch above open area. Now, so if you take possession of the second floor, you then need to work away at the first floor. Even then, it's not guaranteed because you have to deal with going downstairs, which is where the actual site itself is.
There's a lot of things that are happening right now that we'll get into during more of the analytical side of the round, but Jackal right now just holding the skylight, trying to just prevent any rotations back from Ella, who is holding an angle, and Vigil is there as well. Like I said, they're just supporting each other as roamers. They know Vigil's somewhere, but they just don't know quite where. Jackal has actually dropped down and given up that angle, and he would have killed Vigil there, but the drones can't tell him exactly where Vigil is. Vigil now is going to probably run out of his ability in a second as he does peek into Jackal's shots, and then Chapstick will get that kill onto Mint. Moving in to the final minute of the round, they finally got 2 kills, and they're finally getting the full control that they need. But Jarvis is actually on that server staircase, most likely utilizing a camera to get that kill, is now going to rotate back, but up behind her comes Jackal to finish that off. It's now up to Echo and Mira. With 40 seconds left, is the Echo drone in position and ready to stop this plan from going down? That is the question, as right now Jackal has to struggle to open up this wall with a shotgun to let Hibana go for this plant. But it's just taking a little bit too long with only 20 seconds left. Zofia, I will actually get that kill onto Echo, which is the biggest kill that they needed to get. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a C4 come out and at least get one kill. Yes, it will. And now Adam, anticipating the drop down from the red hatch, will get another, as Zofia did get down and is then killed. Adam almost about to get this huge clutch for his team now. Is going to be able to get the pre-fire and will get a fantastic clutch there. What an amazing play by Adam to win that. I think that was an ace, right? I couldn't quite tell with all the action that was going on.
I believe Jarvis got a kill earlier on.
That's right. That's right.
So it was not an ace. It was a 4K, but Adam! Oh my! Oh, under fire from two different angles and manages to hold off and persevere. Incredible. And just, wow. I am astonished. So for him, there we go. A round that really should have easily been Ronin's to lose, and the Mira just we said earlier, hey, your anchors need to be able to get kills, and boom, done.
We definitely saw it there. And one thing I wanted to point out, yes, Jackal got brought. Yes, his ability was utilized to try to find these roamers, but he actually was never able to scan the footprints of the actual roamers, Vigil or Ella, because they used their anchors to get the hatches. If you noticed, when he scanned the footprints at the beginning of the round, he got Echo's footprints instead of anybody he actually needed to try to find to kill. But either way, Jackal utilized effectively to, get a pinch on Vigil and Ella, who were trapped in the kitchen, and then Valkyrie most likely using a camera placed in Skylight, which we mentioned before, which is a typical place that Valkyrie cameras are placed, most likely was the reason why Jarvis was able to get the kills, that one kill that he got. But once again, Adam getting a huge 4K at the very end, using his great gun and his skills to just anticipate every move by the offense while it was happening.
I honestly thought that we were going to see more than just one kill with that nitro cell from Pojo as well. I was kind of surprised that it only got one kill, but nonetheless, big round for Adam and Flipside in general. Start them off on the right footing. You have Mint playing on that Blackbeard. I actually thought that the way that Jarvis was playing on the Valkyrie up on the stairs, it looked like he was going to be able to get a C4 kill onto Talon. That would have relieved some pressure onto the actual site itself, but couldn't get it off in time and then ended up getting pinched. They've worked their way inside of the building and have done an okay job managing to drone out second floor. There's nobody there. Just first floor is where the roamers are right now lurking, and that's what they're going to have to focus on. Open area as well as back stairs. You've got Peng and Bill in position to possibly go for a kill, as well as Yellow, so 3 roamers. That is not an interesting strat, but a very, how do I want to say this? A very brazen one, because if you lose your roamers, that puts a lot of emphasis on the actual support itself. We just saw Adam clutch, so I mean, it can work, but still, sometimes it's a gamble teams don't want to take.
One thing that I want to point out about this defensive setup, as Adam does end up getting a kill onto Jaeger, is that there are 2 impact grenades placed right now. One at the hallway that we just saw as Castle pre-fires the hallway, and then pre-fires towards the kitchen. It almost takes the head off of Blackbeard, but luckily he has a face shield, so it didn't get taken out. Those 2 impact grenades are connecting the archives to the open area and then into the hallway. It's connecting 3 areas that are very important for the defense to be able to rotate around and roam effectively. Even though Castle did get taken out, and then Ella now getting taken out as well, that's a huge detriment now for this defense. Even though Valkyrie is still playing on the staircase, that camera is on Skylight. We saw it earlier. She can still get a kill, as Smoke is now going to be rotating back towards the red hallway. Hibana still being alive now. They have no idea where the attack is actually going to be coming from. The offensive players, though, only have 30 seconds to actually make something happen. Blackbeard is going to be getting rid of this ADS, and those smoke grenades on that staircase are going to be a huge blockade for the offense. They have to figure out a way to go. They're all scrambling around trying to figure out exactly how to get downstairs. For some reason, these hatches aren't open, or at least now they are. Valkyrie going for a shot, has to stay alive, but Blackbeard will come in at the very last second. Well, not last second, but with 10 seconds left, comes in with the Deagle flying around that corner to take out Valkyrie. That almost could have been disastrous for the offense if they couldn't figure out how to get downstairs quick enough. That they were just held off for so long by that smoke and by the roamers.
And that was what? Was that a 4K for Mint? Can we bring up the scoreboard on that? For Mint, that was a 3K with Jarvis getting one and Adam getting another. And that Blackbeard, a very crucial round. That's 2 big clutches from members of Homeless, and Ronin just not looking like the team that we have seen over this full season. They look a little toothless and just currently being overwhelmed. This is what the first 3 rounds that we saw in our first matchup today of Hydra versus Nomads. Hydra looked like they just had Nomads' number for those very first 3 rounds. Now, Nomads woke up, were able to put up a fight from that point on, but right now, through both border as well as the first 2 rounds of bank, Homeless is eating Ronin alive at the moment. And what's your assessment? So I have some ideas as to why I think that it's just not working out. I think that Homeless is actually doing a very good job of countering the way that Ronin plays just by the way that they themselves are playing. But what's your take on this? What are your thoughts? What are things that Ronin can improve upon to try and even the score up?
Well, right now, I mean, we've said it multiple times now. It's just adaptability to their attacking that they're going to have to figure something out here. They once again brought that Jackal, but we're seeing a very strange defensive location coming out for Homeless right now. And it's going to be up to Ronin and their adaptability to just try to figure out how to stop the this defensive play. If Ronin on that last round could have kept their roamers alive a little bit longer or had a different way to rotate back downstairs, because once their angles got cut off to rotate back downstairs, they were just sitting ducks because they just had to push right into the offensive sites they were just holding these angles so effectively, especially Blackbeard. You know, it's just they had to just play their lives upstairs and they all tried to rotate back downstairs. One of the mirrors, however, is getting opened up right now. Actually, no, it's not. All the charges just got shot off by Valkyrie. That's important. That's a good play by her to just waste that utility by the offense. It's looking very, very good right now for Homeless. I think Ronin is really stalling out, and there's already been a minute into the round.
Pretty unbelievable that we're actually seeing them try this site. Now, they did say ahead of time when I spoke with them that we were going to see some... hold on, let me quote the exact same thing. We're trying new stuff today, so we may look ridiculous, was what they told me. And I think that's pretty true. Take a look at this. They're stalled out completely, the attackers. What is the one site that you should not really have that much difficulty being able to attack?
Personally, I think it's the open area. I think is actually the easiest site to attack. But right now, I don't think that they've probably even scrimmed this at this point. I don't think that Ronin has any answer to what's happening right now. They literally don't know what to do. They're literally stalling out with 1 minute left, and they're just sitting around, not even getting rid of barbed wire in front of them. I think that their utility isn't getting utilized appropriately. Right now, Hibana's still trying to open up at least one of the walls. Thermite now opens up one of the walls, and Jackal looking for those shots through the desk. Can't quite land them, but takes a little bit of damage himself. Ash is trying to watch the flank as Rook has been downed. Hot and Cold coming up on the flank from somewhere, gets a kill onto Thermite. I think he came up from, actually got that kill from down below. It's a very, very difficult angle to go off of, as Ash knows exactly where he is now. He's going to have to go for a push to get rid of him. Jackal moving along will get that kill as Valkyrie tries to drop down the hatch. Ella getting taken out now, but Mint moving in and getting a kill, and as Adam gets a kill as well. Ash and Hibana being the last ones alive. However, Hibana has moved into the main desk area, takes down one. Can he get another one as Mint gets another kill, but it is immediately traded back out with a 1v1 now as Rook, but Chapstick will clutch it up. A great attack in the end. They were able to adapt to what was going on around them. They, one by one, systematically figured out where they needed to push, and it just all turned out to work out beautifully for Ronin there. That was very impressive.
I thought this was going to be a bit of a swift matchup between the two of them, but that was a great answer back. Now, you can say that that was just simply a byproduct of a tough site, but I think more credit needs to be given to Ronin on the way that they played that. They attacked well, and they basically put members of Homeless into positions where they could not contend with 2 attackers at once, essentially pinched them on site. And then, of course, Chap played the final 10 seconds so well in order to clutch it for his team, going from a disadvantage to a win. That will allow Ronin to now go back downstairs, a site that is, or rather, a site that they have not won on yet, but a site that is at least more defendable than others to a lot of people. Their defensive composition is nothing too out of the ordinary. They're going to run the same castle, likely the same roaming castle Ella Jaeger strategy that we saw too. Castle off, probably some of open area, maybe inside of archives or tellers, probably archives, and then make sure that you put pressure on there. But no, Billboard will put one in tellers itself, and then it'll rotate through that wall. Nothing really that out of the ordinary, though it is a little weird not seeing a mirror. I think we get so used to seeing a mirror on this site that it can be a bit difficult for teams to adapt without one, but by no means crucial.
Well, they're putting a lot of their defense into their roam game up top. The 3 roamers controlling the archives, the open area, and the staircase. They're putting a lot into that. We are seeing Twitch being brought once again. We saw Twitch one of the rounds before, and even with this nerf to the drone, we're going to see how she's effectively utilized, because now she can't just shock roamers, can't move players around as much. With Glaz being brought, though, by the offense, it's going to really depend on where he pushes from. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a heavy downstairs push, aka just kind of not even paying attention to the roamers, just kind of moving in a way that avoids them and just watches a flank. But that's not what we're seeing, as Adam is moving into stock very carefully, but Billboard is going to pick off Mint. That's that Blackbeard off the board. That's a huge pick. Not quite sure where he got him from, most likely from the window in the hallway, as Sledge is still above. He's going to open up these hatches and is going to be trying to look for Billboard, push him into an area where he is at a disadvantage. Ella now is going to have to be careful. Might actually get blown up by that breach charge if she gets too close to that door. The wall is going to get opened up now, as Twitch kind of knows where Ella is, but doesn't quite know. Is going to looking for any kind of movement after that breach charge goes off. He now gets on his drone, does see exactly where Ella is going to go for a pre-fire most likely through that bag. Can't quite get it. The dollar bills are just flying all around as Ella is now moving back around. Gets hit by an impact grenade, Twitch, and then pre-fired by Ella. That magazine still being as effective as it once was. Jaeger holding this angle on the main staircase will take down Sledge, and with a minute left into the round, this offensive push seems to be not going well until that kill right there on Ella to gain a little bit of...
Final minute now, too, and a strong round from Ronin. Could have just been a slow start, but showing that this is a good choice for them, at least at the time being. Billboard jumps up and ill-advised. Pojo guns him down. That's the Glaz. Bring out the PMM. Some shots from Jaeger's carbine just at the top of stairs will rattle through open area with nobody there to catch them whatsoever. Jarvis, after impacting the hatch, will go for a second. This time inside of admin with the Glaz playing up with him. They do have some time available to them, but are running out very quickly. The Glaz from above, this will be a difficult task. All 3 of those smokes still available, and they can be used very well to chain together and cycle out the attackers. One smoke will get dropped, and a flash too, as now Chap drops the smoke and tries to take out the Glaz, and amidst the smoke, concealed is the Glaz, but Chap gets the last laugh, and Talon jumps on board, and Jarvis falls. Ronin now wins 2 in a row, and we are tied up on Bank.
This is a good comeback so far by Ronin. Their roam game really worked out for them that time. I think that, we keep saying it, and I hate to sound, so repetitive about it, but the adaptability of Ronin has seen them win 2 rounds that we thought that they might not win. They lost their first defensive roam game for the downstairs defense, and then they lost an attack, and then they have come back now and won an attack and won a defense of the same site. But it's, this match is far from over. It's only 2-2, and now back downstairs goes excuse me, I'm drawing a blank here. Can't even remember the team name. My cold is getting the better of me. I apologize.
All things considered, your casting has not been impacted at all. I think it's been top notch as always. So I wouldn't be too worried. So for this round in particular, they're going to be bringing the same strategy or the same
As Intero, I think, accidentally just muted himself, we are moving into the
I did,
round.
yes. No, I didn't accidentally mute myself. My mute button toggled by accident. So I was
unlucky.
going to say, I have a hotbound mute button, and I thought I pressed another button, and I must have pressed the mute button along with it, just fat fingering it. But they're running the similar composition, or the same composition that we saw in the first round. It didn't work at all. In fact, you could argue that Ronin should be up 3-1 right now if it weren't for the Herculean effort that Adam had undertaken to keep his team in it, winning that 1v4. Strategies involving an Echo. You're gonna say no thank you and forego the smoke. So you're gonna rely an awful lot on that Yokai drone to outlast, whereas Pojo himself will use the ACOG, at least for the time being, to repel anybody who pushes in through garage. You can see through the silhouettes. Right now, there's nobody there that he's going to need to tussle with. No Chapel drone, and he'll see the drone and take care of it quite efficiently. What the big thing that fell apart was the roam game for Homeless. They got pinched very early on. Do you play a more restrained roam game? As you can see, everybody is lined up. A conga line forming just outside of garage as they'll try to peek around, and we can see maybe Pojo's perspective on this and see if he's able to behead any of them. Droning being done, and they are given the all clear for Ronin to be able to waltz right into the garage. And oh my goodness.
That's pretty wild, as literally Pojo Man had nowhere to go. He knew how screwed he was in this 5-man rush coming out as Jarvis kills himself. This is all just completely falling apart as Bandit will pick up 1 kill at least, and Mira being the last one. Nope, actually Mira gets killed, and now Bandit the last one alive, knowing that he is upstairs. They have him surrounded at all angles. He's going to push in and get killed immediately. I thought that round wasn't quite going to work with a 4-man push through the garage, but they proved me wrong. They didn't have a Blackbeard to push through there, but with that drone on Echo to push him back, I'm surprised that they didn't kind of anticipate something. They had probably most likely no Twitch was picked by the offense, as you could see, so all the cameras are still up in the building. How do they not realize that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they not understand that there's all these cameras are up? They have all this intel at their disposal, but they don't realize that none of the offensive have actually come into the building yet, except for Thermite through one specific area. That's just a wild attack coming out from Ronin right there.
There was nobody really watching B site. Vault was largely empty, and there was only one watching the garage. You had your roam, okay. Pojo got droned out of garage. He moved, went inside of B itself before coming back to try to contest garage, but saw the Hibana push up, and at that point, didn't really have any options. He tried to hide, and then you have the manpower to overwhelm, and that's what we saw. Hibana pushed up, so at worst, if Hibana dies, you know where his position is. You can likely get the trade. It's going to be a big benefit, especially when your strategy, which what Ronin was running, did not involve using any utilities or gadgets whatsoever. Their strategy was literally bulldoze our way into the site and get a quick plant off, and there was nobody there to stop it. Jarvis tried to C4, and well, that's going to be in a digest as Jarvis takes himself down. And it all just fell apart. At that point, you're basically having to retake the site, which is an unenviable position for any single defender to have, especially roamers, even anchors. Flipside said they were going to be trying some interesting things. Maybe having everybody vacating the site was one of their tactics. Maybe this blitz is a factor too. You got Pojo on Blackbeard and Mint going from his traditional fragging roles onto a shield operator, and shields see a lot of play in closer quarter combat. Bank is a map that has verticality, but not a defining characteristic of it, which means that you could conceivably see this blitz be very effective at taking the first floor bomb site.
I think that with this being the first time we've seen the Armory, or the Archives defense today on this map, one thing I want to point out is that you mentioned verticality on this map, but just because you win verticality upstairs doesn't give you a way into the site, because there's really no hatches. There's no hatches to either of these bomb sites. So bringing this blitz, I think they're just going to kind of try to strong arm their way through one of the doorways to give them that much more of an advantage, and they need a shield in order to do that. Jaeger has been taken out, and now Castle's almost going to get taken out as he has been downed underneath the staircase by Blitz. Ash coming in from down below as Sledge has forced his way through this doorway and is going to be watching the rotate between the sites. This is a very, very powerful push as Hot and Cold will pick up another kill, and Mira now being the last one alive. But where is she? She is in the site just laying down behind the bomb. She really doesn't have anywhere to go, even though she does pick up one kill Mint as Blitz clean up that, and they'll, Homeless will finish that round very, very quickly, but utilizing that blitz to just force their way through that doorway. Important.
What did we just witness those 2 rounds? My word, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm 2 rounds where words do fail me, but
I'm kind of in the same boat a little bit, but I think that Ronin put a kind of an all-in strat for 1 round, and Homeless said, you know what, we can do that too. Like, it's not that difficult to say, all right, everybody push this one spot, and we're all pushing through here right now. Like, it's not a difficult thing to do, but every once in a while you do see switch plays work. There is a place for them in the game. It's all about mind games. 2 teams, as we mentioned, they're going to be trying to play their best versus each other. They're going to be competitors in the upcoming season. Even though there are going to still be some changes made before the season starts, they have to, play these mind games. They have to get in each other's heads and win the mental game along with the physical game, so to speak. And right now, it looks like Homeless is going to be investing a lot of utility upstairs to try to defend CEO while they defend the Archives bomb site. Or excuse me, that's not the Archives. They're all the way downstairs, even though they're utilizing a ton of barbed wire and things upstairs. This is a wild defensive setup, especially still bringing that echo and foregoing a smoke. You kind of have to wonder, what do they have against smoke? What, especially on this map? Haven't had one yet.
Yeah, not a lot of smoke play is really required, but running a composition on defense, and inexplicably, Homeless has failed to win the basement, but have won the other sites, or rather, at least one site. They won on the main floor of Teller's Archives, failed to win upstairs in CEO office, and also failed to win downstairs, except for the first time around, which Adam clutched on. So, no, Jarvis eliminating Peng, traded off. Yellow will be there to have his teammates back quite well. A lot of those drop hatches available for Houghton to be able to float between floors and be able to get up when need be. Will position himself inside of open area and throws one of the Ela mines up there to prevent himself from being pressured too much. You can hear that the exothermic charge already broken apart one wall inside. Monitors downstairs or security. And they're just positioned waiting for the push. Some drone work being done to show where the defenders themselves are. And shots from the Ash will ring through the main doorway. This is where a smoke would be incredibly valuable, and you're going to have to rely on that yokai drone to do that. But I don't even think we've seen Pojo go on the yokai.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. He's probably waiting to throw it out at the last second so it doesn't get destroyed in the middle of what's going on. Right now, Ela up above the hatch, not shooting Thermite, even though he's going for the plant. Now, as those shots do ring out, Thermite is going to narrowly escape with a tiny, tiny bit of health, but they just haven't taken control of that hatch above, and it's proving to be a super big issue. Right now, Talon rushing over to this window to open it up with a Zofia is going to jump through, however, Yellow will come in and take down Ela immediately, but Ash is very weak, Thermite's very weak. We have 3 strong defenders. Bandit with his speed to try to go for a flank. I think that he is upstairs right now waiting for the perfect moment to flank. We do have the yokai drone now being moved into position to stop the plant from going down. Shoots one shot to just kind of annoy Ash, keep her at bay, put them in a position where it's going to be difficult for them to stop the plant from going down. He's looking for that yokai drone. The C4 comes out with Thermite being at such low health. He just is going to get taken out. Ash now is trying to go for the plant, but he quite can't get the spot going. It's just not working out. I don't know if he was able to pick up the diffuser in the perfect position. Talon, however, is going to kind of even things up here as Bandit's going to go for some shots. The bomb is getting planted, and the bomb actually does end up getting planted. Now Ash is retreated back over to the server staircase as Bandit is now playing inside of Red Hallway. Might go for a pre-fire towards server stairs. Ash at very, very low health has to make her shots count and has to play this very effectively. She does still have 2 flashbangs to try to waste Bandit's time and to give herself a little bit of breathing room here. But now with that pre-fire going, Mint is going to know exactly where Ash is and is going to miss the shots. And Mint goes for the drop shot there. Ash, however, not being able to turn around and get that shot off. Mint is easily defuse this bomb. and win the round, putting them on match point.
What a play from the Bandit. And clutches it out. Now, I mean, he dropped and didn't bother to look to see that the plant was going down. In all fairness, after Adam got that C4, it's not usual for the attackers to immediately pick that diffuser up and try again. And that's exactly what happened. Even though Yellow did have some difficulty getting the diffuse down, he did it successfully before getting off site and mint a potato fest with the actual Zofia missing in his entire clip of the pistol and then having to go for the knife kill. Now we see Homeless on match point. This is Ronin's map. Let's not forget that. We can go to overtime. If Ronin prevails, they will be on defense. And look at their composition. The exact same as we have seen so many times. A castle strat, likely involving archives tellers, maybe even in open area. And this has been a tough nut to crack for Homeless. Being able to take the downstairs has been much more difficult than their push on archives tellers. I mean, they're not going to be running a blitz this time around. They'll go back to the glass. Mint will go back to the Blackbeard. So we're going to see if this plays out identical to the way it did before. I'm wondering if we're going to see a heavy push invested in B rather than trying to force their way through A and just ultimately failing. That would be my guess, but it's tough, right? Because Ronin has done a very good job on defense so far this map.
Yes.
And especially on the bottom site, it has just simply been a situation where Homeless has not been able to figure it out. The castle might be something that they are unaccustomed to dealing with in this particular area. Billboard being a good shot doesn't help. Doesn't help Homeless, of course. So a couple change-ups that they'll need to make. Can we find ourselves in a situation where they've finally been able to figure it out, you know, third time's a charm, and they actually make it work, and they get the win, and they push themselves to the finals?
Well, I think that they have made it work before. It's not like they haven't won this attack. It's just that, or they still lost, but they cracked the nut, so to speak, of getting through everything. Ash just opening this up, putting some pressure onto the archives, is going to peek through this little crack right here, and defenders have to be careful peeking through there. They have to know that this angle exists. There's no way that they don't know that that angle exists. So we're most likely not going to see them peek into that. But Ash still sitting there is a danger to them. If they're droned and pushed now, forced into a position where they walk into some kind of an angle being held by a offensive operator, they're going to find themselves in that same position we saw them in before, as Talon, however, will get a very, very nice C4 onto Blackbeard, but then once again, walking into that angle that we talked about. They're cutting off these rotations back downstairs and then just picking them off. These roamers need to play their lives like Jaeger's doing right now, hot and cold, waiting to push Jaeger, knows kind of where he is, might have a drone sort of near him, and now that drone is getting taken out. Ash looking for those shots onto Jaeger, a couple shots ring out and both take some damage, but Yellow will re-peek and take down Ash. A very, very nice play from him. He's playing his life very well as the defense is now rotating back down. Castle knows that he can't go down server stairs like he tried to do that one time. He's now going to rotate down the main stairs, makes it down. Sledge holding this angle, trying to pick off Jaeger still. Jaeger, however, will get taken down now by Jarvis, but he played that very, very well. There's only about 50 seconds left, and Jarvis with some pre-round bags going on is going to rotate his way over and make sure that he tries to get these hatches open as quickly as possible. With only 40 seconds left, they have to make something happen, and Smoke still has 3 canisters.
And tons of time being taken away right now for the attackers. Jarvis gets a second, though. That's penged down, and only 2 left for Homeless to push their way into the finals. Punch a ticket, as I would say, into the actual finals itself. A Smoke and a Castle with Adam still upstairs, but will need to join the rest of his team. 1 Toxic Babe goes down, and that will be one of the drop downs. As now a second goes down too, though Jarvis comes right through. Adam takes out Billboard. It's all up to Chapstick to clutch. The former member of Homeless against his team, spotted inside a vault. He takes 2 down, and he's got the diffuser. Adam can't get there in time, and Ronin holds on. What a round by Chap to keep things alive, and overtime awaits us on Bank.
I want to give credit to Yellow for playing inside the archives upstairs, archives tellers, as long as he did, because it just wasted that necessary time. After Valkyrie got killed trying to rotate back downstairs, I think that was the cue that they just needed to stay up there as long as possible, stay alive. And it paid off in the end, because they just, with the amount of time that got wasted, with Smoke still having all of his utility available to him to just prevent the plant from going down, they had to push, and backing himself into a corner where he could only get pushed from most likely one direction at that given time, Smoke had everything in his corner, so to speak, to win that round.
That's the power of having a Smoke. That's why you want a Smoke alive in the dying moments. I mean, you gotta really assess the situation there and realize that Adam needed to join his team about 10 to 15 seconds sooner. I appreciate that he was on flank watch trying to find Billboard, and if I recall correctly, he did get the kill on Billboard as well, which means that he's doing his job properly. But when you're in a you know, a 1v2 situation like Chap was, and then a 1v3 actually, you just have to play diffuser. He got the diffuser down, and that was it. I'm sure there was a lot of yelling on his end. Also, a little bit of blame lies on Homeless for not getting that plant off. I know that they wanted to find the position of the Smoke, but once Jarvis was taken out, it would have been very easy for them to just sit inside of sight and get the plant while Adam came up and then held off the rotation through Vault. And that is not what happened at all. They all tried to push, and one by one, Chap just simply lasted longer. Here's the big thing for me, though. Ronin has to defend twice. Now, yes, Ronin has looked very good on defense. That should benefit them. But we haven't seen Homeless bring out a blitz on the downstairs site. I mean, it worked for them on Archives Tellers. Is it going to be beneficial above? Breaching charge, or breaching round rather, gets taken out. Yellow goes for the rotate, and Hodden beautifully able to take out not just one, but two, eliminates Mint. What are you doing, Hodden, as he drops Peng 2 as the Ella had eliminated Adam. So Hodden gets a 3K, one of which happens to be his own team, leaving the Ash, the Hibana, and the Blackbeard to deal with a Smoke, a Valkyrie, and a Castle.
Obviously, Houghton just didn't appreciate that blitz pick. He said, look, you weren't even supposed to take blitz, so I'm just going to take you out myself. It has no place in this offensive attack. No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously a mistake. They wanted to utilize blitz for his utility and for the ability to push effectively through a doorway directly, but it just didn't end up happening. Now, with Hibana, Ash, and Blackbeard taking control of up top, Valkyrie has rotated her way back downstairs, going to open up this door, making some extra holes here just to prevent the ability for the offense to go for the backwards plant, as is so common on this map. And right now, I think that there is still a defender upstairs. So it looks like Billboard's just hiding. Yeah, Billboard's just hiding in the back, and he's actually going to get taken out by Houghton right there. As Smoke and Valkyrie, the last one's alive with 1 minute to go. This is looking very good for the offense, I'd say, but it's still not in the bag. We've seen this exact scenario just a second ago with Chapstick still alive, with Valkyrie being alive now, with maybe some differently positioned cams than what we saw before. Just going to be watching the hatch very carefully. Hibana opening both these hatches. We're going to have to see exactly where Blackbeard goes to try to watch over the planter as the plant does try to go down, and where Ash is going to go to try to pick off these defenders as their attention is drawn to the objective, which is to stop the plant from going down.
Houghton has every kill for his team at the moment, and he's going to need the rest of his team to help him out as they storm inside of server. Houghton gets ended by Talon. Pojo goes for the flash, but completely misses. Sees the Valkyrie. Can't outduel her, though. Jarvis eliminates Chap, and the only one left is the Valkyrie of Talon, who has taken a beating so far. He'll need to push inside of sight. Jarvis getting plant down. Will Talon get there in time? He will, and Ronin takes round number 1 of overtime on what was a burst of action, and that 7-second diffuser time being a little too long for Homeless to contend with. Ronin looking so good on defense here. They're now going to test their luck on attack. Now, if you are Homeless, you have not played as well on the basement as you have when you played on the main floor. Do you possibly look to defend somewhere else, or do you go with what you know, which is the most accessible site for defenders?
I'd say right now they just need to go with what they feel most comfortable with. The location of the site isn't necessarily that important regardless, I think, of their win rate. If they're not confident in the site that is most common, then obviously they need to go somewhere else. But if they, even though they've lost these rounds, if they still feel confident that they can win it, which is obviously the way they feel, and especially not even changing up their operator selection, then they just have to try to win it. They they have to go for it. They kind of have to go all in for it. Now, Ronin bringing Ying this time and Jackal, they're most likely going to kind of go all in on the smoke Ying plant. They're just going to try to get a plant down, and it's going to be up to the roam game of Homeless right now to try to, win the round for them. But with that Jackal, we talked about it. It's going to be very difficult. We saw Vigil that first round. We haven't seen him since. And I think Ella just went for a little bit of a spawn kill right there. Is now going to be rotating back. There's a lot of barbed wire upstairs once again. This seems to be part of their strat, just to try to waste as much time as possible. But I can't help but think that utility could be utilized in another location. Right now, it's going to be up to Ronin to try to get control of the top floor. They can't just push directly into the open area, even though they would very much like to do that just to open up the hatches as fast as possible. Hibana right now is going to be droning upstairs. Bandit, placing all of his Bandit batteries up top, is just going to try to defend it upstairs along with Ella and just try to waste as much time as possible, like we said. But if the offense can get onto a flank and just wait for them to try to come back downstairs, it would, benefit them a lot more than I think than pushing them, but that's still yet to be determined.
And just a lot of patience right now. Typical drop downs still being available for Houghton. They're all going to stack up. One Ella mine goes off. That will alert them of their presence, though Mint will be able to quite easily get that extra thermocharge or not. Ends up stopping at the last second. Not sure why the hesitation, but they will concede control of CEO office about halfway through this round and will now drone to try to find Mint. The drone will just scoot right by. And it looks like there will be a slow push from the thermite inside. A lot of candelas as Mint turns into the corner. And what a shot on the Talon. Mint takes his head off as Talon rushes right in. And Jarvis from below blows Billboard right up. And that is a big advantage right now in favor of Homeless. It looked like Peng was going to spot Jarvis. He was hot on his heels. Mint takes out Yellow before being eliminated from Peng. And now Chap pushing inside of Janitorial. Sees Houghton and finishes him off. This has been a great round for Chap. This has been a great game for Chap. And it's all up to him and Peng in a 2v3 to try and keep his team from having to go once again and defend, likely onto the main floor.
Right. So in this 2v3 scenario, Valkyrie has already used her C4. Mira still has one C4. Echo Drone most likely is still up. There are no roamers, so Jackal's ability isn't quite, as useful as it is earlier in the round. Hibana utilizing her gadgets now to open up the floor, and Jarvis is actually going to go for a flank right now, trying to gain some control in the kitchen just to give the offense a little bit more to deal with. Hopefully the offense, for their sake, has a drone set up to watch the flank, as they are going to go all in on this vault drop. There's only 15 seconds left, so Jackal and Hibana both have to drop down now into the vault and get inside, but they're both mowed down immediately by Adam and Pojo Man, who are just lying in wait, understanding that based on their camera placement, there's only two places they could have possibly gone. Or excuse me, only in one of those places is the garage, and the other place is the hatches. And most likely they knew it was the hatches. That's why they were positioned on either side to get a pinch on anybody who dropped, and that was a very well-played defense. One thing that I do want to point out about not only Bandit not being able to charge that thermite off the wall, but why didn't Ying push with the first candela that she threw, since she can see through it, instead of then pushing after Bandit would have been not flashed or potentially, you know what I'm saying? Because if she would have pushed into the room as the candela was going off, which is her ability to see through her own candelas, she would have just seen Bandit Blair Witching at the wall and easily picked up that kill.
Thank you for using that. I dropped that in a cast a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know how many people would get that reference, but I'm so glad that somebody did. And it's so appropriate, right? Is that you turn around and you face the corner of the room.
Right,
I think there was an issue with communication. If you remember, it was the thermite of Talon, or it was the thermite of oh my gosh, who was playing the thermite? Might have been Billboard. The thermite was the one that was trying to engage. Then the candelas went off, and the thermite had to back up, and then the Ying came in for the push. It could have just been a no, I'll go, no, I'll go, and then the Ying pushed, which was Talon. And at that point, that second or two makes a significant difference. Not to mention the fact that Mint wasn't blind at all. but you didn't take advantage of the opportunity when he had turned around in the corner. And yes, Blair Witched indeed. So because Ronin had won on the bottom floor, they now are on the main floor, which last time around we saw Homeless actually just plowed their way through the main floor, through the lobby, and killed them all in pretty darn quick fashion. But a bit more hesitation and patience this time, I think, because they understand that this round is the difference maker for whether they win outright or whether they have to go to Coastline for a second matchup. And we have gone the distance. We are in technically round number 11.
I'm really excited for this match to go into overtime. If it does, I'm really fingers crossed. I hope it does, as Hot and Cold picks up that kill onto Yellow. Jaeger is now off the board. His passive ability is still in effect though, but it looks like a full-on offensive switch right now. They've realized that they probably can't push the way they came before because of the speed of their push. Right now, I think there's a bit of confusion coming out from Homeless as to where exactly they want to go, and it looks like they're all just either going back upstairs towards Skylight Stairs, or they're going to get into CEO. But now they've once again just switched it back up, going to the main lobby. I'm not quite sure what prompts these switches, what call out is being given by the IGL as to why they're switching the way they're switching, but maybe it's just a huge mind game that they're playing that's just so far beyond my comprehension that I just don't even know what to call it. Right now, Ronin is sitting around. They have nothing better to do than just sit around and let the time go. But I think that maybe they were switching at the same time as the offense was switching. It looks like some flashbangs coming out from Hibana are going to blind Smoke and alert them to his presence. It looks like Rook is then going to get pinched by Hot and Cold and Jarvis at the same time, as now Blitz is going to strong arm his way through this doorway and is just going to peek it at first to make sure there's nobody there. Chapstick now waiting beyond the wall that Hibana is hitting, but now Castle's going for a huge flank. It's going to take down Ash, but not be able to get Blitz. Mira has been down. Chapstick will get a kill onto, I'm not quite sure who he just killed. There's so much action going on in so many different directions all at the same time. Blitz getting a little bit more damage as Blackbeard has also picked off one. It's now literally a 2v1 scenario where Castle is the last one alive, just waiting with 9 seconds to go. Sledge has to go for the plant, and he must be going for it right now. There's no way he's not. Blitz has been picked back up. Castle has to figure out something, and it looks like the diffuser is going to go down. Blackbeard has been killed. Adam will finish off Mira, who is most likely giving off some kind of call out. Castle now has to figure out which door he's going to have to push through. All Blitz really has to do is sit in one doorway and watch it, and we're literally sit right on top of the diffuser, and which is exactly what we're seeing right now. He's scared though of which direction Castle's going to come through. He smokes off one doorway, hoping to prevent Castle from going there. For some reason, Castle just barricades off this doorway. Not quite sure why he's doing that. Maybe to prevent himself from getting flanked from the side, as this smoke is now going to prevent his line of sight coming inside. Blitz now sees him. Castle is completely blind and will get killed by Mint, which will seal the map right there. Bank is what was just won by Homeless. 6-5, very, very close game.
And they'll go to the finals. And that's it for Ronin, knocked out. And you can see what beautiful matching attire between the team. Homeless definitely said that they were going to be running some interesting strats. Things might look a little weird. A great showing from Mint. Houghton leading the way with deaths on his team. Bill, a very cold map. But that is our